Hey babes, my name's Hannah.
And my name's Chasity.
Welcome back to Bookish Babes.
In today's episode, we will be doing book recommendations if you liked After by Anna Todd.
So the first book I would recommend if you liked After is True by Erin McCarthy. The whole storyline kind of just, now this isn't one that Chastity's read yet.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
But the whole storyline kind of really reminded me of After, and I didn't read it after I read After.
You read it after you read After?
Mm-hmm. After. Just in general, so Rory is kind of like the good girl and she has never been with a guy, so her friends like behind her back pay this like tattooed bad boy to like take her virginity essentially.
Yeah, which I can see kind the afterness
yeah,
here.
it's very similar. The storyline is very similar. So Tyler just in general really resembles Hardin. He has dark hair, he's a bad boy, he's tall, he's tattooed, and Rory is the very sweet innocent girl who comes from a good family. So well, a good family. So just in general, the whole thing reminds me of After. So if you liked the kind of angsty romance between Hardin and Tessa, I think you would really like the romance between Tyler and Rory.
So the second book that we would recommend today is Fallen Too Far by Abby Glines. Honestly, this one I loved so much.
I haven't read it. That's actually my copy, but I haven't read it yet.
Right. Rush is one of my favorite book boyfriends. This is actually the story of Blair, who her mother passes away and she is in a lot of debt from taking care of her mother with medical expenses. So she calls her father, who they were separated, and he lives in Alabama, and she goes there to live with him. But when she gets there, she discovers that her father is in Paris with his new wife, and the only person there is Rush living in the home.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And they immediately hate each other.
Oh, Hardin and Tessa.
They immediately hate each other, but the chemistry is so there.
Yeah.
So there. Not only, so this is the first book in a trilogy. Best trilogy. I love this so much. But it's very, very angsty and lots of twists and turns.
So the Rosemary Beach series, are those like companion novels then?
So it's like, it goes beyond the first three, but yeah, it'd be companion novels because then it goes into...
It's not the same couple? Okay.
No, I think the fifth one, because the fourth one is from Rush's point of view, but I don't really consider it part of the trilogy because it's like, maybe it is, I'm not sure. And then the fifth one goes into a different couple.
Okay.
And then I think the fifth and sixth one are about one couple, and then it goes 7 and 8, it's about another, and yeah, so they're all
would you just say, like, the angst?
The angst, the twists and turns, and plot, like, the plot is just all messed up. It's so much like After.
Okay.
Like, the actual storyline is not close to After.
Just the feel of it.
The feel of it.
Yeah.
Like a whole lot of angst.
Yeah. So the next book we're going to talk about is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. This is one that we both really love. So Miles in general is really similar to Hardin in the fact that he rejects any sort of emotional connection and he...
Or commitment.
Yes. And you don't really find out until later in the book why exactly he's like that, which once again is very similar to After. Because you don't really learn a lot about Hardin's backstory until later in the book. So it's not necessarily Tate that is similar to Tessa.
No, that was my... Tate is very, very different.
Tate is almost like kind of the opposite of Tessa. Tate is very confident and almost kind of abrasive. And Tessa, of course, is like soft and sweet and innocent, and Tate is not at all like that.
Right, so the chemistry is a little bit different because like she'll push back when Miles is pushing.
It's not so much the bad boy, good girl trope, but it is definitely the same thing where like she connects to him and she really wants the same from him, but he's just not able to give it back, and a lot of arguing follows in suit, which is actually similar to After.
It's very hard for me to pick a favorite Colleen Hoover book because I love so many of them. Yeah. I love them all, but I love so many of them so highly. But Ugly Love has remained in my #1 spot.
Because you just love Miles so much.
Just because I love him. And I loved the chemistry.
Yeah.
The final book that we would recommend, if you liked After, is Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire. You guys.
I think a lot of people compare After and Beautiful Disaster. They're very, very, very similar.
This is so similar to After, but I read this before I read After.
Okay, see, I read it after. I read
Oh my god.
after.
This couple, you guys.
She
Travis.
loves Travis. I'm more of a Trent kind of girl.
Travis and Pigeon.
Yeah.
Come on. Oh my god.
So if you guys don't know, that's part of the whole Maddox Brothers series. And so she wrote Beautiful Disaster, and then she wrote Beautiful Redemption. Is that the second one?
No, so here's the weird thing about it, which I did not know until I was done reading them, is that the Beautiful Disaster series is actually the Beautiful Disaster series. There's 3 of them.
Okay.
So it's Beautiful Disaster, Walking Disaster, and Beautiful Wedding. That one is.
Oh.
And then Trent's book, Beautiful Oblivion,
Yeah.
that starts the first Maddox Brothers book.
Okay, that's confusing.
Which I had no idea.
Which I preferred Beautiful Oblivion to Beautiful Disaster, but that's not as similar to After, because Trent's not at all like Hardin. Mm-mm. Not the way that Travis is.
Travis is so much like Hardin, except for he makes like character growth much quicker.
Yes.
Much quicker.
And he admits his feelings much quicker than Hardin ever would.
Whereas Pigeon, that's not her name. Abby is her name,
yeah.
But he calls her Pigeon, and I will forever remember her as Pigeon. Mm-hmm. She fights it more.
Definitely.
She fights it
She's once
lot
again
harder.
less of the good girl.
Less of the good girl. She has issues with commitment. She also has a very interesting backstory.
Yes.
So
yes.
This one is just, I definitely would recommend this one.
Travis has the same, like, temper issues that Hardin has. That's the first thing that reminded me of Hardin when I was reading this, is the fact that he is like he fights for money. That's what he does as a job. And I'm like, that's something that, like, Hardin totally would have done. He would have beat people's asses for money. Absolutely.
And definitely the fact that, the reason Abby ended up being so close to Travis was because she lost a bet.
Yes, and the reason that they met in general was because of a mutual friend, like an After. So yeah, it's definitely, out of all of the ones that we've talked about, Beautiful Disaster is probably the most similar to After.
Yeah, so that would be the first one I'd probably pick up if I were you. Mm-hmm. But they're all very, very good.
Yeah. So thank you so much for watching our video. We really hope you guys enjoyed. And if you decide to pick up any of these recommendations, definitely let us know in the comments down below. And also let us know any books that you've read that remind you of After.
Thanks so much, guys. Definitely hit that like button, subscribe, and share it. And we will see you next time.
Bye.